In this video, we will review some topics that will help you prepare for your Polycom install. Before your Polycom installer shows up to install your newly acquired video conferencing gear, there are several things that need to be considered. We will review several aspects of an operational video conferencing infrastructure and where it will connect to other equipment in your network. To begin with, the overall installation project goes through two main phases. Each main phase has multiple secondary steps. The first phase is project development. Project development includes project definition, planning, design, and scheduling. During this portion of the project, you define objectives, create network diagrams, schedule kickoff meetings, verify your designs, discuss risks, and schedule the overall project. The next major phase is the project implementation. Project implementation includes project execution, monitoring of objectives, taking corrective action as needed, validation, and project closeout. Using these steps as an overall guideline helps to ensure a successful project with as few issues as possible. Now let's move on to the more technical aspects of your installation with Polycom. One of the first considerations has to do with Microsoft Active Directory, or AD, and why you need it. The main purpose for integrating with Active Directory is for user authentication. All of Polycom's infrastructure equipment can use Active Directory for user logins. The DMA and the RPRM have several requirements for AD integration, including a single forest, read-only access, and access with a password that does not expire. The Resource Manager also requires universal groups if you plan to import user groups for role assignment. AD user authentication is also used by the Resource Manager when it allows Real Presence Desktop and Real Presence Mobile clients to log into the server. The other main reason for Active Directory integration is so the DMA server can create virtual meeting rooms for all of the users. The default parameter that is used for the virtual meeting room dial-in number is the user's telephone number field in the AD. Once your Polycom system is integrated with Active Directory, the next step is to connect to Microsoft Exchange for Polycom's RealConnect for Microsoft Link. The RealConnect feature enables Microsoft Link or Skype for Business users to schedule meetings using Exchange and then to join the meeting simply by clicking on a link in the meeting invite. It is imperative that each Polycom endpoint has a mailbox in Exchange and a room created in the RPRM server. This enables the Polycom endpoints to join the same meeting as the Microsoft clients. The user account that is associated with the Exchange mailbox must be set for the password to never expire. The next major concern or preparation involves the corporate firewall. If you have purchased Polycom's Real Presence Access Director or Web Suite product, then your firewall will need rules added to allow video conferencing and reverse proxy support. The Real Presence Access Director, also known as the RPAD, enables the user to make video calls into and out of the network. In order for this to work, there are several settings that must be configured on the firewall. These include configuring a one-to-one NAT, disabling any H323 or SIP ALG services, and disabling any H323 helpers, such as Cisco's H.323 fix-up. Along with these settings, TCP and UDP ports need to be allowed through the firewall and then to the RPAD address. Some of these ports are TCP and UDP port 5060 and 5061 for SIP, UDP port 1719 and TCP port 1720 for H323, and TCP ports 443, 389, and 5222 for Polycom's Access Proxy feature. The RPAD deployment guide can be found on support.polycom.com and provides in full detail all of the ports required for a successful install. Next, Polycom's Web Suite software gives you the ability to connect browser-based video clients to your Polycom infrastructure. External participants that connect to Web Suite require an HTTP reverse proxy device to allow inbound access to the web interfaces of both Web Suite servers. The Web Suite servers are accessed using TCP port 80 and are redirected to TCP port 443. If you are enabling the enhanced content sharing feature, then you will also need to allow access to ports 9081 and 9981. Another requirement of the Web Suite product is split DNS. In a split DNS setup, the host name for a device is the same inside the network as it is outside the network. The Web Suite server directs users to the same URL whether they connect on the corporate network or on the Internet. By the way, DNS stands for Domain Name System and is used to convert website URLs or system host names to IP addresses. Other Polycom devices that require DNS for operations include the DMA system and the RPRM system. When you integrate the DMA to the resource manager, it uses DNS names to communicate. If the DNS names do not resolve, then the integration will fail. Along with the initial integration, the resource manager and the DMA also use DNS SRV records. The RPRM uses SRV records to allow auto-discovery of the server address by the real presence desktop and mobile applications. The DMA uses SRV records to facilitate pointing devices back to the DMA for SIP and H323 services. Some examples of the necessary SRV records are listed here. The rest of the Polycom devices support DNS, but it is not absolutely required. That being said, Polycom recommends using public key certificates for secure communication on the public Internet. In order to use certificates, you will need DNS host names. So a best practice for security is to use DNS and certificates on your Polycom equipment. Now that we are talking about certificates, let's cover a few basic ideas and terms for adding and using certificates on your network. First, a digital certificate sets up a trust relationship between devices and uses a public key to encrypt the communication between those devices. The message can only be decrypted using a private key that matches the public key. When you create certificates and share them between devices, you are sharing the decryption information needed to read the encrypted message. If the certificate is created by a third-party certificate authority like VeriSign, Komodo, or GoDaddy, then it is generally agreed that the keys can be trusted by public Internet users. These public third-party certificates are automatically trusted by common Internet browsers. This means that you don't have to add the certificate to your devices for successful operation. For private corporate consumption, these certificates can be generated by domain servers and shared for employees and other trusted corporate users. Private certificates are not automatically trusted by Internet browsers, and it may be required to install the certificate on a user's device. All of Polycom's endpoints and servers support certificates for secure communication. The RPAD and Web Suite servers communicate with devices outside of your network, so secure communication is highly recommended. In fact, the Web Suite server requires a security certificate before it will function fully. The MEA or Experience Portal has to be configured with a certificate before the Video Portal website will load in a web browser. Taking some time to review these topics will help you prepare for your Polycom install.